This podcast is for my children and grandchildren. Someday I won't be around to offer any guidance when you need it. Hopefully, at that time, you'll be able to find me digitally. If in this podcast you cannot find the exact answer you are looking for, maybe it'll prompt your brain for a new way to look at things, a new way to look at your situation. But the most important thing to remember is I love you. Granny loves you. I want you to succeed and be very happy. The views I present are my views, the way I look at things. And I don't expect you to believe exactly what I believe. However, if you want to be able to keep an open mind, don't close your mind to fit in. Don't give in to other people's negative attitudes. I believe in God. One of the reasons I believe in God is that I think anything and everything is possible. If you can't open your mind to all the possibilities, you limit yourself. If you limit yourself to just what science has told you or the guy next door told you, then where are the possibilities? There are answers to your questions. You just need to look at it from every angle. If you take something at face value without exploring all the alternative avenues, other people control you. Not only will your options be severely limited, you won't be able to see the path forward. So today, I will focus on how to get the ball rolling, how to get started. And the next 4 words are the most important words to carry with you throughout your lifetime. There are no facts. There are no facts. Well, you could say there are 2 real facts. You're born and you will die. But is this even true? Maybe it's only your body that lives and dies. Maybe your conscious brain, your waking thoughts, don't have an expiration date. Maybe your body's a small stop on the journey of life. Maybe it's like grade school and you're here to learn lessons. And when you've learned the right lessons, you move on to the next stage. Maybe this is all there is. But even if it is, wouldn't you want to make your very best life for yourself? So today, the discussion will be about facts, theories, and beliefs, and then how God plays into that. What are the differences between facts, theories, and beliefs? Not much. It's just levels of belief. The first level is an idea. The second level is a theory. And the last level is a fact. The problem comes with the fact level. We've been trained, and I do mean trained, to believe that a fact is absolute truth. And it's not. A fact is just the best and most agreed upon theory at this time. Facts change. Facts change with new discoveries. Facts change just when people or the community believe something different. Your facts could be possibly different from someone else's facts. Facts are still not true. What I mean by that is facts are just what everybody says is true right now. Facts change with new discoveries, and they happen on a daily basis. In essence, the only fact you can really depend on is your own life, and even that can be altered. What we know now is that your brain alters your memories every time you think about it. Think of memories as files. You go to the file, you pull it out, you examine it, look for the information you're seeking, but when it gets put back, it isn't the same. It overwrites the old memory with the new memory. And the next time you think about it, it won't be the original moment. It'll be an altered memory. So the more you think about something, the more it gets altered. Again, facts aren't truth. It may be your truth, your facts, but really it's just your belief, your theory of your life. Why is this important? Because the only fact that matters is what matters to you. It's what you believe. Once you realize that everything is just a theory, you have the choice to believe what you want. Technically, this is what we do on a minute-by-minute basis. Moreover, we need to realize that everything and everyone we come in contact with has that same choice. Whenever we encounter something, we open the file we already have, or we start a new file on it. If we already have a file on it, it takes a lot of effort to change that file. Usually it takes several times of opening and closing the file to alter it. Occasionally, a one-time event can do it, but usually it takes our brain several wake-up calls before it accepts the new information. This is why first impressions are so important. It's also why choosing your belief matters. Your subconscious brain will fight any contradictory belief because it's a matter of survival. By the age of 7, your brain has a framework for survival, potential ways to die. Your brain's job is to keep your body alive. That's it. The skills to stay alive determine your beliefs. And whatever those beliefs or theories are, it's your God. The theory of everything. The search of what the meaning of life is. So whatever your brain had learned by the age of 7 or thereabouts will be your baseline belief. It can be changed. It can be changed over time. But it takes effort, study, and personal experience. The question is your theory working for you? Are you only surviving? Are you stressed all the time? Are you happy? Is your brain working for you or against you? Is your God, whether it's science, faith, or anything in between, making you a better person or a better life? If it's not, are you willing to choose another theory or God? If you could wipe your brain of your current operating system, what system would you choose? What criteria would be important to you? And how would you go about choosing? Would you do your own research, or would you depend on others to choose for you? Would you let peer pressure affect you? Or do you have the character to stand up to peer pressure? Whichever God you choose, and remember, you will have a God of some sort, because whatever you believe, that's your God. There is a difference between your God and the God. When you say, I believe or don't believe in God, you're talking about the God or a religion or a denomination. But if you don't believe in God or you don't believe in the God, you still believe in something because it's your belief system. It's your theory. It's what you base your life on or around. Again, it's just all theory. None of it's provable. You can believe in science or religion, both or neither. You can take some of each and patch it together. It doesn't matter to anyone but you. Now, back to choosing your God. What will make your life better? Well, mine's the Bible. And the reason I choose the Bible over religion or science is because after studying, I realized a few important things. The Bible is really just a playbook. It's a framework for building a successful life. It's a layer by layer brain book. It's a ultimate self-help book. It makes you smarter and happier at the same time. It's the single most important guide to dealing with other people and understanding yourself. It teaches your brain about everyday life and how to navigate it. If you study it, you'll have the ability to make decisions based on prior knowledge. You're not only one step ahead of everyone else, you're miles ahead of everyone else. There are many people that have a cursory knowledge of the Bible. They read it quickly, the Bible in a year. The people who memorize verses versus people that go to church on Sunday. The problem with these approaches, they miss the whole point of the Bible. The deep study of the Bible, it's the framework for your brain. The step-by-step connectedness is revealed. As a whole work, it leads you to the ultimate secret. It's all about the process. How to get from the beginning to the end, right here on earth. The ultimate secret is the process. Once you get this, problems are welcomed. The Bible teaches you how to navigate the problems. Once you learn the navigation secrets in your life, you'll become more rewarded, and your time on earth is worthwhile. We're going to start at the beginning to lay the foundation for your brain to build on. We're going to start very slowly to make sure the concepts are firmly rooted before accelerating, because this is how the brain works. It needs that trunk of the tree to be able to carry the load of the branches. It teaches our brains how to process information, how to make associations, how to work out problems, how to filter out all the noise around us. It teaches us how to be productive, how to prioritize, and how to make risk assessments. I challenge you to challenge your brain. You may have tried many things before, but have you considered first challenging your own brain to question itself? To challenge your subconscious with your conscious. Before we get to step 1, let's talk a little bit about the Bible itself. It's a history of a very specific people and their trials and tribulations. It shows how they rarely get it right the first time. That constant struggle to do what they know they should do, and the consequences of doing what they want to do instead. A story of starting over again and again. A story of no matter how flawed you are, or how flawed the world is, or how flawed your world is, you can rebuild and remake yourself into the person you want to be. The journey of one among many. It's one book, or maybe a collaboration of a lot of books. So it's one book made up of 66 books. It's more like a library. Roughly 40 different authors over a period of about 1,500 years, spanning 3 continents, 3 languages. These authors included kings, shepherds, scholars, and regular people just like you and me. It has over 31,000 verses. That's 31,000 verses. Most people only memorize 2 or 3, 4 verses. But mainly, those verses, they connect together. They make a cohesive framework, a guideline that if you look at it and compare it to other verses, you'll see that connectedness. In just the first 5 verses, by example, are the 5 steps, or thereabouts, to de-stress your life. The 5 steps to create your masterpiece. The 5 steps to invent anything. And 5 steps how you can just create your own life. Your own world that you want to live in. In step 1, there are going to be a lot of things you might not agree with, and that's okay. Hang in there, and remember, we're working with the brain to break down the steps. Your brain is going to battle with you about what I'm saying and what you already believe. That's what we want. Refuse to give in and stick with me for results. Genesis is about beginnings, not only of the world, but the beginning of your world, the world and the life you can have. We're going to use examples in these verses to improve your life. The last item before we start is the understanding that there is no proof or disproof of God. Science and religion both claim they have proof, but really neither one does. There's theories, but there's no proof. If science doesn't even know how our brains work, or exactly how DNA or genes control us, or what happens in a black hole, how in the world can they say there is no God? Also, how can any religion blindly say that they know God isn't energy or consciousness? It is literally the black hole paradox. There is no way to prove what's on the other side until you go there. And once there, there's no way of transferring that information back. This is faith in action. You can't know, and we're probably not supposed to know. You either have faith and hope there is something beyond, or you hope that this is all there is. But either way, we have the greatest self-help book, the playbook for a wonderful life, the textbook for graduating life with A's, or skipping school and hoping the teacher passes you anyway. It's your choice to study for the upcoming exam or just winging it and hoping for the best. Have you ever wondered why God didn't create it all in one instance? Why didn't He create everything there is in bang, just one moment? Why break it down into 6 days of creation and rest? And, well, the usual interpretation is just, it's an example of work. 6 days of work, 1 day of rest. I have a hard time believing that God's opening lines are about how hard I should work. I believe that the creation story is a much, much deeper story. It is the most important lesson God has to tell you. All things can be done by breaking down the steps and then breaking those down into smaller steps and then those into smaller steps. How do you eat a gorilla? One bite at a time. It's a process that works in all aspects of your life. So, step 1, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Wow, that's a controversial sentence, if there ever was one. It's set the world on fire many times. Imagine how many lives have been affected by that statement. It still divides the world and people to this very day. It's such a divisive statement. And yes, it is essentially the most unifying verse in the Bible. I'm not telling you what to believe. I'm asking, what do you believe? Can you question yourself? What do you really believe? For or against isn't the question. The question is your conscious mind and your subconscious mind in agreement? Is the problem science versus religion? Or what if it's the same thing, science and religion? How would you explain the very little we know about science today to people who have no concept of quantum physics, gravity, entropy, our universe, space-time, black holes, entanglement? Just picture it. It would be difficult and frustrating. And yet, at that very first line, that very first verse, it does exactly that. Try explaining it to your child or to a friend that really has no concept of science. It would be really difficult to convey. I mean, just think, if you went back in time, could you explain to someone in Moses' day how our universe is made, how it was formed, what we think now? That doesn't even include what could be way in the future. I'm just talking about now. Try explaining a phone to them, or a car, an airplane, AI. Imagine that. That first line, that first verse, it's a brain prompt. I mean, what's a brain prompt? Well, it's that thing you say to someone before you want to start telling them something you want them to know. We instinctively know that we must start with a brain prompt. You have to put it in context because the brain requires it. If it doesn't get one, a place to start, it's confused. It just blanks out, starts trying to make connections between what you're saying and what they already know. We've all been there. We walk into the middle of a conversation. We start listening for clues. Are they talking about a person? Where they're going for lunch? Buying a new house? You get the idea. Now imagine if when you joined, someone had just said, hey, tomorrow we're going to build a car. Well, your brain knows what a car is. Now the brain has context. It knows where to start. Even if you don't know anything about building a car, you're pretty safe to assume it's going to be about building a car. Everything they've been talking about or everything that's to come. That's a brain prompt. It connects your brain with the conversation at hand. Now let's go back and look at that verse again. In the beginning, well, that's time. We know what time is, although it's not an exact time. We can feel time. It seems to spoon, whether we're bored or late for an appointment. We think it's fixed, but in reality, while it's a fundamental aspect of the universe, you have to consider space-time. Sometimes I'm going to get a little sciencey. You might know more than I do. I'm just putting it in context. Just bear with me. So the rate of time's passage can vary depending on an observer's frame of reference. Time passes slower for objects moving at speeds close to the speed of light or in a stronger gravitation fields. In the famous twins paradox, 1, 2, or I'm a daughter and a mother, a wife, a grandmother, a coworker, and a friend all at the same time, but from different perspectives. And what is suspected from quantum physics, not only am I conscious, but my table is too, though at a much smaller degree. So if there's degrees of consciousness, wouldn't you also conclude that there's a higher conscious than us? If quantum entanglement, spooky action at a distance, describes the phenomena where two particles can become linked in such a way that knowing the state of one instantly reveals the state of the other, even if separated by vast distances, doesn't this also describe God? If particles can know exactly what the state the other is in, no matter how far apart they are, how can you rule out a knowing, omnipresent being or force? I'll leave it up to you and your brain. Now to the heavens and the earth. Again, both fundamental aspects of the universe. Probably the easiest to understand. Heavens, what they could see with their eyes at the time, space, the galaxy, the stars, the planets, and Earth. It's what they could touch, where they lived, and basically all matter that they were aware of. But really, who's to say whether black holes aren't the heavens? Maybe when we die, our souls or consciousness slides right back into those black holes. Well, that's just a thought, of course. So in the first sentence, as a brain prompt, the fundamentals of the universe were introduced. Everything that the brain needed, that it was already aware of, visually sets up everything that follows. That picture in your brain to connect the step-by-step process of how it was achieved and the examples by which we are also to create. It's also a summary statement of the goal. That's step one. Remember, this is the overall summary statement, a visual outcome that you want to achieve. So step one is the brain prompt. Step two, now that we have the hardest step covered, everyone that created anything knows this is the worst. The idea, the goal, the end game. On to step 2, verse 2. And the earth was formless and void. It's a pretty odd statement if you didn't realize that the first verse was only a brain prompt. This is the ingredient list for the creation. Here's a couple of examples. So I'm a baker. I'm going to bake a cake. Step 1, the vision, the goal, the brain prompt. That's the cake. That's the finished product. So step 2, what do I have to work with? Better start with white flour, formless and void. Okay, I'm a painter. I'm going to make a beautiful picture. What am I going to start with? Well, I better start with a blank canvas, formless and void. I'm a coder. I'm going to make a software program. Well, I'm going to start with the computer, and it's blinking, that empty cursor, that horrifying, I have no idea what I'm going to do. The earth was formless and void. That's the blank material you're starting with. And the darkness was over the surface of the deep. So the earth was formless and void. Now we're staring into the abyss. We know where we want to be, but the canvas is blank. The writer's block, the darkness, the hopelessness, that feeling of, is it even possible? Can I do it? Will it work? Well, we all feel that. That bleak feeling deep in your soul, that doubt, that uncertainty, that darkness that looms out in front of us, that pure frustration. This is the stress. Stress is the darkness. Now that we have identified the stress, how are we going to relieve it? Step 1, we name it, visualize it, and what we want to happen. Step 2, what do we have to work with? Where am I right now? I have to identify the stress, look it in the face, head on, acknowledge it's darkest before the storm. The subconscious is working against us. The brain wants the familiar, the known, the safety of doing nothing. This is where most people stop. Be brave and can continue on. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. This is a conscious brain weighing the pros and cons. We're hovering, the risk assessment, thinking it through clearly and fairly. The possibilities, figuring out that what things would be needed, prioritizing the steps, the process. So we have step 1, the goal, the brain prompt. Step 2, what material do we have with and where are we? We're in the darkest part of our decisions right now. And the evaluating. Moving on to step 3. Step 3, verse 3. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. This is a light bulb moment. The way, the path, out of the darkness. The decision, step 1, the vision. Step 2, where are we at, and what do we have? The darkest moments. Step 3, that's the decision. Step 4, verse 4, and God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. This is a process of scratching out the bad ideas and starring the good ones. The ability to recognize what's viable and what's not. Step 5, verse 5. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. This is the plan, the blueprint, the getting started point, the naming of the differences between possibilities. And also notice, this isn't day and night as in a 24-hour period. The sun, the moons, the stars, they haven't even been created yet. This is the dark and the light, the despair and the hope of our consciousness. We use the term night and day to denote a true line between good and bad. To see the light at the end of the tunnel, there's daylight between objects. Again, using what the brain already understands. And there was evening and there was morning one day. Now this is an interesting statement. Evening and morning, that's not a day. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. is not a day. Evening and morning are different than night and day. They are both night and day, and they're neither night and day. It's that period of darkness where day sinks into darkness, and from darkness we begin to see light. However, evening and morning could have a similar meaning. Evening is chaos, and morning is discernment. So it's more of a bringing the darkness to lightness. The process of righting the ship, the steps to bring disorder into order. The sleep on it, and it'll look better in the morning. Interesting, too, is that research still don't know why we need to sleep. But we do, or we don't function properly. The brain needs downtime to process all we've done in the day, sort it out, file it, and take out the trash. So now that we've been through the 5 steps. And this is where I'm going to challenge you to do battle with your own brain. It doesn't sound too hard, but there are rules that can't be broken. Rule 1, it has to be handwritten. No voice note-taking or typing or anything like that. The reason behind this is it must involve both your subconscious mind and your conscious mind. The physical action of writing forces your subconscious to be involved. There's going to be a few surprising items on your list that you weren't even aware was bothering you. Rule 2, this is just your point of view. No help from the grandstands. This is to be on some type of a notebook or journal that you can easily put by your nightstand or by your bed. Okay, here's the challenge. Step 1, identify a stressor in your life, big or small, that constantly weighs on you. It could be as simple as the house needs cleaning, or you have a coworker that bugs you. Your travel time to work is just too long. Anything that stresses you out, but you're the only one going to pick it. Now, put a 1 on the top line. After that 1, what would be the perfect outcome to relieve your stress? Name it. It could be a super clean house with everything in its place and a place for everything. Or I want to be able to get along with my coworker. Or I want to reduce the amount of my commute time so I have more time with my family. So go down a little bit and put a 2. List everything that bugs you or stresses you about this thing. Don't think about it, or you'll get stuck at that formless and void stage. Right. Just let it all hang out. Even if it feels silly or meaningless, just put it down. Now take a few minutes to hover over it. Was there anything you forgot? Just keep brainstorming until you think you have every little thing that's bothering you about this. When you think you have it all, go a little further down and put a 3. This time, I want you to list all the possible things you could do to fix it. Again, just things you can do and not what other people need to do. Look at it from all angles, all possibilities, anything you could do. Put some unrealistic things on there, like I could get up in the morning and have the whole house clean in 15 minutes. Or I'm going to make my coworker my best friend. Or I'm going to just quit my job. You need to get silly. Have fun with all the goofy things you could do. Next, look at your lists on 2 and 3. Really look at them. On list 2, were there any surprising things? This is a darkness list. Are any of them things you really can't control? Are any of them what others might think about you versus what really matters to you? Is a clean house what you really want, or is it just what you think you should do? Now go back to number 3. Divide the remedies into real possibilities. What's the easiest, the least amount of effort? The one small thing you could realistically do. Let's focus on that one little effort. Make the decision. Let there be light. And the one thing you will actually do. I'm going to spend 10 minutes picking stuff up in my living room tomorrow. This is the plan. Write it down for number 4. Then the last step, number 5, will be to take it to bed with you. And just before you sleep, look over the plan. Set it beside the bed, thinking about the plan. Then when you go to sleep, hopefully your subconscious brain is going to be working on that problem for you. If you wake up during the night, write it down on the notebook. Don't think or worry over it. Just go back to sleep. In the morning, before you get up, pick it up and look at the plan and write down any new ideas. But unless it's way, way better than the plan, stick with the plan. I really hope you try it at least once. It really works, and it'll ease your mind. In fact, just the act of writing something down tricks the brain into thinking you have a plan. This is only the first small bite. Each episode, I'll go a little deeper into the chapters and the verses. Finally, for anyone besides my grandchildren, I'd like to point out that we have covered a variety of topics today about science, religion, creating, and stressors. Your brain is probably craving relief, but before I go, I want to let you know this is a value for value podcast. If you have received any value from this, please share it with someone. It doesn't matter if it's a I told you so share, or can you believe this lady share, or what do you think about this share? Even a, hey, this is my new hate listen share. Please take a few seconds to give value back to me if I've given you any value. I appreciate your time and I value your opinions. So please share. I'm Granny, and I hope you join me next episode at Battlegram.